Welcome to the Institute of African American Males. Don't forget to drop a like and subscribe.
Nice job. Phenomenal. Appreciate it. Phenomenal. All right, see? Told you.
Out of mouth
Phenomenal. Wow. Young black men, now I am confident in the future. There's another black male that I'm confident about the future with. One of the issues surrounding black men we know is issues in school, issues with the police. We'll be talking about that throughout the day. And you may have heard some of the solutions have been rites of passage, and or some of the solutions may be mentorship programs. And some people call their mentorship program rites of passage. Technically speaking, mentorship doesn't start till after the rites of passage is finished, right? Because remember the hoodwink, right? You're hoodwink, you're taken from the group, the village. Then you go through your training, it's like a boot camp. And then you're accepted back into the village, and that's when you get your mentor, right? So that's one of the small things that bothers me about mentorship, which we call their mentorship rites of passage. I am fully in support of mentorship programs as well as rites of passage, but if we're going to do an ethnic and historical tradition, we need to be in connection with that tradition and truth. The other thing that concerns me about mentorship programs, and I'm all for mentorship programs, and I think everyone has heard of someone who's had a mentorship program, but how often have you heard someone who has a mentorship program that actually has assessments and measurements and things written down? Most mentorship programs, people just show up, what did you guys talk about? Oh, we just talked. So we talked about hygiene, we talked about girls and police. Okay, so how often? Well, what do you mean? So I applaud anyone who does a mentorship program and tries to advance things. But I think mentorship programs might be just a little bit better if you have a plan before you start. And while you're doing your mentorship program, you have some ideas or some goals. Goal 1, increase attendance, decrease absences. 2, increase grade level. 3, have open communication X amount of times. I think those are some things that you can measure over a period of time that I think can support mentorship programs. And so here I am, concerned about mentorship programs and black males, and I come across the name of a guy named Tim Hurd, who is a young man. He is a MSU, Michigan State University senior, who's been doing his mentorship program on his own. Then he got adopted by some faculty at MSU and gave him support. But this young man on his own did a mentorship program to support black males, a young black male supporting other black males of his peer age, and he has measurements and assessments. That's amazing. I've never heard anyone who was that young, that polished, with that much stuff together. So without further ado, because you don't want to hear a bunch of old folks today, trust me, we will break out in our session and do some fun things very, very soon. But we're going to also have some fun things right now where we have Tim Hurd talk about Michigan State University, his mentorship, and his thoughts about education in higher ed. Come on down.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Tim Hurd. I am a senior at Michigan State University. First of all, I'd like to thank Dr. Ted Renshaw for having me here. Thank you, Dr. Green, for your full work. So I guess I'll give you a little bit of information about myself and then about my organization. So now I'm a senior at Michigan State University. When I came in freshman year, so I was an athlete. So I was a basketball player, so I played on the basketball team. I'm originally from Detroit, but I moved to Grosse Pointe, which goes into the pretext of why I'm saying this. So I'm from Detroit, but in 5th grade I moved to Grosse Pointe. And it was it's kind of similar to East Lansing, where I'm at right now. It's predominantly white, and there was this culture shock that I had when I got to Grosse Pointe. But it kind of helped me become better equipped for when I got to Michigan State University. So when I got to Michigan State University, I played basketball for half the first year, and then I stopped playing basketball. And I started focusing on my grades because I was always a student athlete. The student came first and the athlete came second. And that was something I wanted to emphasize, and my grades started going low. So the minute my grades started dipping a little bit, I was like, all right, I need to switch it up. So I got more into the academics. And second semester of my freshman year, I was just in the library every day just studying. And I lived in Acres, so I had 3 roommates, and they were my best friends, and they were also young black men. And after freshman year, they all got kicked out, and they all had 0.0s. And myself, I had a 3.7, but it was kind of hard, just because like those are my 3 best friends, like those are my guys. So I was like, what can I do to kind of find a solution? What can I do to fix this? And then I just came across some wonderful people within the College of Education, because that's where I'm at. And I started working with some faculty there, like Dr. Gunnings, Moden, who's the Associate Dean of College of Education. She's like my mother there. And she just introduced me to a cohort of young black professionals, and I didn't really see that. I'd never been around a lot of black people who had their doctor's degrees or PhDs and things like that. So for that was just a new experience. And then they introduced me to like this topic of research. So I was like, okay, let me start seeing what this is, because research never really interested me before. I was just kind of like, it's just like a lot of reading, a lot of writing, stuff that I wouldn't really be intrigued with, but I was. And I realized that through research, it provides a level of like validity in terms of what you're saying, because you're like, well, the research backs this up. So people have to start taking you serious a little bit. So I started to get into research, and over the summer of my freshman year, I was a summer RA, and I had a cohort of students who were coming in, and there was 12 black students who I was specifically focusing on. And I started doing research with one of my mentors, and it was understanding students of color expectations as they transition to a predominantly white institute. Because a lot of my students, or the freshmen who were coming in, were from Detroit, so they're really from Cass and Renaissance. And one of the things I wanted to see if they had this self-fulfilling prophecy of failure. So speaking into existence of, oh, I'm going to come to Michigan State, but I'm not going to make it because of my background or where I was going through. And that was something that I didn't like, because a lot of them who I was working with, I saw that they had this problem. So I was like, all right, I need to do something. So I did various leadership positions, and through the leadership positions, I realized there was a lack of black male representation in leadership positions on campus. And that was something that I wanted to change. So through research and doing other research projects, I created my organization. It's called Rising Black Men. And I started it last year, September 17th. And now we have over 100 black men in my organization. The retention rate was 100%. That was cool, but it started off, I guess the breakdown of it. So there was 35 freshmen, because my target group was freshmen, freshman black males. We had 35 freshmen, we had 7 upperclassmen, so juniors and seniors, and then we had 15 graduate students who were black men as well. And this was at the start, so this was by October of last year. And the ratio, so we checked in and saw how they were doing. There was 1 mentor to 5 mentees. So that's 7 to 35. And we saw they were doing academically and socially. We checked in with them at least twice a week. And then every other Friday, in Brody, which is one of the dorms on campus, we have learning objectives. So we have these conversations that we might not have elsewhere. So we have conversations such as, like our first conversation was how to navigate a predominantly white institute while being a black male and deal with things such as microaggressions. And then a lot of my guys are from Detroit, so there's crab in the barrel effect, and there's a divisiveness that we have within our own city, like East Side versus West Side, or Mac versus Warren and stuff like that. And being familiar with things like that. And so when guys come up to campus, they might limit themselves and they might not interact with people. And I think that the 2 things that I emphasize are increasing people's social capital and then also doing well academically. The first piece is academically, so I want my guys to maintain at least a 3.0 GPA. And then the next thing is expanding their resources. So not just talking to the black community, but talking to people outside, talking to deans and stuff like that, and setting people up with the support that they need, because I feel like you need to have that support, but then you also need to have the resources, and it goes hand in hand. You can't have one and not the other. So the thing is, how can I find that, be that liaison to provide support and also provide those resources that I established, because I didn't want to see anybody else get kicked out like my 3 roommates my freshman year. So we started doing a lot of that, and guys started coming out, and the retention rate, like I said, was 100%. And in the second semester, we started working within the Lansing community's school system. So we started working at Lansing Sexton, Lansing Eastern, and also Lansing Everett. And what this is, so my organization is a pipeline of support from MSU to the greater Lansing community for black males. So we have faculty in it. I work with a lot of faculty on campus, from the likes of Dr. Lee June and Dr. Dag Bovey. So a lot of my mentors are also come in and they speak to the guys. And we take these learning objectives that we do on campus, and we go to the high schools and we do the same thing. We take it to the middle schools, like McDonald Middle School, and then we go to the elementary schools. And it's really something I haven't seen before, and I did it really based off of like my organization, or based off of the research that I was conducting, because I hadn't seen a pipeline of support. I've heard of a pipeline, like the school to prison pipeline. If you're illiterate by the time you're like in the 4th grade, then they have you on track, and it was disproportionately represented by young black men. So I wanted to create a positive pipeline and change that narrative, because my whole thing is emphasizing this paradigm shift and getting guys to see that they can accomplish. And as black men, you can just not come to Michigan State and just not get by, but you can thrive. And the biggest thing is I want guys to thrive. I don't want guys to just get by. So my biggest thing has just been working and getting guys involved. And currently I work with the basketball team and I work with the football team as well. And I bring my guys, and we go to the wrestling, or we might go to the football practice facility, and we'll have these discussions. And people have been very supportive, and people have definitely reached out and stuff. But the biggest thing for me is just getting into research. The research is like just opened up another lane for me. It was another area that I never thought I would get into. And through research, I've just been blessed with so many opportunities to do my organization and do speaking engagements and things like that. So yeah, that's a little bit about my organization and my research, and I'm thankful to be here, and I know this is going to be a great event. So thank you all for having me.
For joining us at the Institute of African American Males. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe.